And we're live!
Hey everyone, we're back. It's Wednesday. We're all still stuck at home. You know it.
Yes.
I would say
Hi,
get used to
Darren.
it. No one really wants to get used to it. That's the big secret.
Yeah.
But some of us are like, you know what?
It's okay.
Not so bad. This is my life now. I can live like this.
Some of us like it very, very much, alright?
Yeah. Pedro's happy whenever he's away from people. Except
like-
for Nori.
There are very few people in this world I can say that I like, but Nori is certainly one of them, so I don't mind being next to her.
That is the correct way to say that.
Oh.
Oh, what's going on, beautiful people? It is Wednesday. We do have quite a big show to put
Yeah.
into your face.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
still getting things dialed in. I'm a little bit sideways because everything sounds wrong right now. And everything's going to sound wrong for about 2 weeks. You won't notice anything at home, but until I break the drivers in on these headphones, I can't tune anything.
Oh, yeah. I just noticing then they are different shaped.
And they're black instead of chrome, yeah.
Okay.
Here we go, Joe. There you go. There's the old ones.
Yeah. Those I remember with the gold around them.
Oh.
Ah, okay. Cool.
Another pair of
Hello,
headphones. I don't
Arthur and
recommend
Steve and Scott and Mir.
anyone buying.
Oh, Theron, I'm actually got the same mug as I did last week. I think, yeah, this was the same one I used. My scale mug. I love it. I need to put some other new ones in rotation that I have. We got a couple as Christmas gifts that are really cool. I still got to put in rotation. Way back from
I
Christmas.
always use the same mug.
Oh, I'm 100% like that. I have the mug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the tea mug, and I can get away with my big tea mug. This, if it's not hot to where it slows me down drinking it, I need at least this to justify having it.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of just like bringing a big pitch over.
Hi, Abstraction, one of our newest patrons. He's awesome.
Hello.
I can't wait to get to know him more. It turns out he's an electronic musician, and he just sent me a video of his that I need to watch, and I couldn't yet because I was preparing the show. But I will
You
soon.
were chatting
Abstraction.
online. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, I was.
Jill was on her
that's
phone. It's like,
Yep.
later.
That's who I was talking to when we started getting on and setting up.
When did the MDR V600s come out? These first started production in 1981 and have been in production since. Mm-hmm. For a reason. Also, don't buy them if you're like, oh, that'll be great for music. They're not.
Yeah, just
Let's see. I had one pair of Sony headphones. They were really nice. They were like 1990 something because my grandmother used to have them for sale on her like small electronic appliance store that was my grandfather. Then he passed away. She sort of started taking care of it.
Right on.
And yeah, she closed the store and turned it into a flower store. And the like
she didn't
everything
decide
that was
to turn it into flowers and headphones.
no, like all the stuff she didn't sell, she like the big stuff like washing machines and irons and all that stuff she gave away. But like the smaller stuff like Walkmans, Discmans, headphones, earbuds, cassettes, tons of blank cassettes just are in her garage. And she eventually gave me the Sony headphones. and they sounded really nice. I wore those until they broke. They were red, but not like
okay.
the metallic red that you see nowadays. It's like that plastic bright neon red.
Yeah, they were the Sony monitors.
Yeah.
No, those are great. Mine had finally died that I had at the radio station years ago. The ones I'm using now are just your basic Logitech, but it's funny because I've tried like 5 or 6 headphones on the show, and I always go back to these ones because they're cloth, and the main reason is they don't have hardly any bass in them. They're very flat, which I like for monitors.
Well, it's a gaming headset, right?
Well, they are and they aren't. They're more
Well, it's Logitech. So
yeah.
I say this
Yeah.
as somebody who owns
Yeah,
a
yeah.
non-insignificant amount of Logitech.
Very, very true. But they're the only game set I've ever had that are flat. They don't have hardly any bass.
What's
They're
the
really good on
frequency
the mids.
response on it?
I don't remember. I've got 3 of them, but they're my best sounding headphones for voice, and that's why I like them. I've actually bought some monitor headphones. I've got a pair of Behringer headphones and Tascam, and I like the sound of these better.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Well, I found the model, but they weren't pink. They were red. Let's see. Picture.
Oh yeah, classic. Yeah, yeah, those would sound good.
But yeah, it was that exact model, just the caps were red.
That looks like something you would wear. It does.
It was literally a spare that was never sold, mostly because they were stupidly expensive.
Yeah, I'm against paying a lot of money for headphones.
Yeah.
And remember, kids, if somebody uses the word audiophile, don't listen to anything they say after that.
Do like they do. Toot everything else out. It's like,
No, man, these rocks and this wooden box in the corner of the room, you know, they really bring out the touch. I'm out. Gone. Might have been a true story.
Okay, so you like reverb? What?
Let's keep that locked in. So we got 3 minutes before go time. So if anybody needs to do anything, go do it.
Okay.
Drink.
Okay.
These are popular because they work. That's pretty much it. I mean, it's a different market. I mean, if you're doing field recording or anything like that, the only thing you don't like about these is they are isolating. And the AKGs, you know, these are 55 ohms. The K240s, these are the budget ones. You know, they're like $70. They're semi-open, which I like a lot better. But yeah, you can usually find really good deals on both of these products because people buy them like, oh, it says professional on it. Then they buy it, they plug it in, and they try to listen to an MP3. They're going to hear all the compression artifacts. And they're not EQ'd for music or bass or anything like that. These have way too much bass in them. Like, I can actually hear the bass in my voice, which is kind of driving me crazy. But I'm going to live with it for a few weeks before I adjust the EQ. And pull out like 68 hertz and drop that down. Okay, we have that together, and that. Couple more things. I did a new studio tour for anybody who's interested in that. It is up on Patreon. Fair warning, it is long and boring. that. And
Yeah, no, this Tesco's Earl Grey is not great.
it's better than Tetley's.
Yeah.
Oh, Tetley. Seriously, what are you trying to pull? And apparently, they confused British style, which was like the thing naturally next to the empty spot where my normal tea is. And I was like, fine, I'll buy that. I still haven't finished all those.
Yeah, no, these taste fine if you let it soak for like 5 minutes, but then the tea gets cold.
I got tea to drink, man. Who's got?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to cave and buy like the 50 quid pack of a bunch of boxes of tea pigs, the Earl Grey strong.
Those
That's
delicious little
good
triangles. Yeah, they're not bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can cut through that way too quick.
Yeah, that's why I have to buy the big pack that has like, I think it's 1,000 tea bags.
But then you just start drinking with abandon.
I don't care. It's good. It's tasty. It's nice.
All right, I get both of them up and moving. My turn. Then we'll get into it.
Okay. Hello, Linux Guru.
Mir, I might take you up on that. We'll see. Oh, it is safe. This is the actual tea.
Aw. Very cute kitty cat Linux Guru. Hi, DeCresney.
Loose leaf tea. Hold on, let me find the name of the what is your name in English? English. Eh. Aloysia citrodora? It's plant that's very common in Portugal, and you can make tea out of it. Let's see. Lemon verbena? Does that ring a bell with anyone?
Yes, lemon verbena is one of my favorites.
Verbena, okay.
Yeah, I've never heard of the other one though. That you mentioned.
It's the actual scientific name of the plant.
Oh,
Aloysia
okay.
citrodora.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have.
I
Okay.
used to have that a lot when I was a kid because there's a lot of them in Portugal. So if you have a backyard like my parents did, then inevitably some seeds are gonna fall there and the plant will grow, like spontaneous generation. But yeah, no, it was that's the tea I used to drink.
Yeah. Well, lemon verbena
Yeah, that's the one.
it became really popular in the 20s for women's perfume. And that's how come I know about that, because of my grandmother. And she said yes, some of those earlier perfumes, that was their main ingredient.
Yeah, they are. If you walk by one of those plants, if someone has one like in
Smells
their
so
front garden, it's like,
Yeah, I know, I love it too. And then I love lemon anyways, so. Arthur, and coffee is superior to tea. Don't at me.
actual coffee is also very, very good. But
Oh, Arthur, and yes, Jill Lemon Bryant. That does work, because you can ask Steve. Lemon is one of my favorite flavors. I love the lemon sour candies. I love anything lemon cake, lemon cupcakes, lemon muffins.
Is that why you're so bitter?
Ben.
Also,
I'm
like
just-
lemon
I'm
tea,
just
yeah.
asking what
Like
people are
lemon
overthinking,
peel
man.
in the tea. Very good.
Yeah. Yes, I like lemon in my water.
I wouldn't be opposed to like lemon and tea, but that's an extra step between me and tea. So
Yeah, if you look at the lemons in the fridge, most of them have no peel left. It's just the white stuff. Because every single cup of tea is like zzz, there.
come on, Scott, let me get away with that one. It's Wednesdays, man.
Bitter is base.
Don't break out the well actuallys until Saturday. Come on.
Yeah.
All right, I think we are lined up. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. All right. One.
That was the nicest thing you ever said to me.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, error
What?
message.
Yeah, it was your turn to snap crackle.
Oh, okay.
Good to go. Yeah. All right. One.
Now we're debating the white, spongy, stringy stuff in between the peel and the actual core of the fruit.
Ah, yes, the lemon equivalent of toe cheese.
Ew. Ew.
3, 2. And welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we can sit back, relax, take that midweek break, and talk about some of the fun things we found going on in the world of penguins. I'm Vince Stone, that is Jill Bryant, and that is Pedro Mateus with you at
Hello.
home, joining us live. Hey, everyone. We're still inside, but I think that's going to come to an end eventually, soon, hopefully. You never know. Much to Pedro's chagrin and dismay.
Yeah. No, I'm very much enjoying this. I am. I'm not gonna lie. I am. Nori is going crazy. She's like, the days are starting to blend together. I don't know what day it is. Oh God, someone let me out.
Well, you basically boil down to all days in with Y, and you separate
Yeah.
your day between caffeine hour and alcohol hour.
It's like, oh, it's dark out again. That means I can start drinking.
Oh man, have you been up to anything fun? How's that NAS coming along?
Well,
Previously on Weekly Daily Wednesday.
very, very top heavy. But yeah,
There
no,
we
it's
go.
there's no motherboard in it.
Oh.
I ordered a replacement, but the nice eBay seller only sent it in today, so I'm gonna be waiting for a couple more days.
Yeah, as somebody who had to wait 2 weeks for the dude to like put something in the mail. But then again, there's no point. It's eventually going to show up when it
Yeah.
shows up. Jill, you been up to anything fun?
Oh, yes. So I had a wonderful time on Destination Linux last Sunday, being interviewed and a guest co-host. And it was great getting to know Ryan of DOS Geek, Michael Tennell from This Week in Linux, and Noah Chelia from the Ask Noah show, and getting to know them even more. And the show comes out later today, so tune in to one of my favorite Linux podcasts, and it was so much fun.
Right after
I had a
you
great
finish
time.
Weekly Daily Wednesdays.
I know. Yes. Which is
That comes
my
out later today, too.
Oh, yes. And of course, this is my favorite podcast, of course.
Good retraction there, Jill.
Yes.
You could hear the screeching from all the way out here.
Aw.
Man, I've been playing around with a bunch of new stuff. Probably like I was saying in the pre-show before we got going, I got these new cans.
Yeah.
Old school Sony 7506. They're the Noctua of headphones. They're not pretty, but when you see them in somebody's case, you're like, yeah, you know what's up with that. And you're like, yeah. And they're going to replace the Bargain Basement, which are great headphones for EQing. If I probably hold those in frame, that works a bit, but the old AKGs, these are 56 ohms, good for voice. Open ear, but I got to give these about 2 weeks before I can reCue everything. I can hear all the bass in my voice, and I don't like it because I normally get to like 68 hertz and just slice that down. Let's see.
Yeah.
Outside of that, for the beautiful people helping us make this show over at patreon.com, I've put out the 2020 This Is How Everything Works in the Studio with a Big Warning. Old man rambles for 22 minutes. And, covering how OBS is set up, how we're doing the captures, how the video stuff is working, the audio chains, and how our IP-based audio system works with Mix Minus and all that fun stuff. So go enjoy that if that is your bag. But
Yes.
Fedora 32 is out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And we're real happy about that. This is blogs.gnome.org. Now, there's a bunch of stuff Pedro and Jordan will talk about, but the most important thing, at least to me, is Tim is working hard on Pipewire. Pipewire is going to be, hopefully, it's billed to be the drop-in replacement for all the things. A lot of the Jack apps are currently working with Pipewire. I'm keeping a close eye on that because I need it here in the studio for OBS, Audacity, Adore, Discord, and it's already kind of in Chrome, so I don't have to worry about support getting at it there. But Tim did note that, hey man, Pulse Audio support, it's still a little bit of a hot mess, and to which I added to, well, it is Pulse Audio, and I was that. But there were definitely a couple of other big changes. The video portion of Pipewire, they've definitely done some work with Firefox with capturing and Wayland. So that's going to be, it's very interesting for me to keep an eye on that because it's going to be the one to bind them all. That's what it says on the tin. And hopefully it'll get there. It'll be that drop-in. It'll be the equivalent of Core Audio, like on a Mac. Like everything just, boom, it'll take care of it. You don't have to worry with it. And I want that to be a thing on Linux to help me help other people get up to speed because it's kind of hard. When it's like, how do I get started? What do you know about timings and buffers? This is step one. Jill, you saw a couple things in there that you liked.
Oh, yes. So this is actually huge. Getting Firefox working better on Wayland. This is a major milestone for those of us who've been waiting for Wayland to become a big boy on Linux. But what's really cool is the Wayland version of Firefox is now as stable as the X11 one. WebGL hardware acceleration support now default on Firefox Wayland. Pipewire support for WebRTC conferencing on Firefox Wayland. That's major. And what was really nice is in the article, which was very well written, it says with Firefox, we finally could move on from make it work with Wayland and Pipewire to let's take advantage of these new pieces to make Firefox on Linux better. Yay!
But
yeah,
that's
major.
not all, Pedro, because they have a surprise in store for everyone.
Yes. Yes.
It's not for me. I haven't used the thing, but that a lot of people have, and a lot of people have had qualms with it, like they have with just about everything that Leonard Poettering has released over the years. Yes, I'm talking about Home D. And he drops the Home D right there at the end of the article. It's just like in passing. It's like, and we're going to maybe start looking at Home D to see what's what. It's like, yeah, I had to put it in there, didn't you?
Do you know what, though? Do you know what? I get 100%, man. I wanted to get angry at Home D, but I get it.
Yeah.
No, again, I get it. I haven't tried it yet. I don't know how it's going to affect me entirely. So, yeah.
We'll sit back and we could put Fedora. Actually, you no longer have to put Fedora on your Lenovos.
No.
Yeah,
going forward,
exactly.
you'll be able to buy
Yes.
them directly. And
Yeah.
this has a bit of that whole cyclical nature of the human condition thing going about it, because these are ThinkPads getting in bed with IBM again. But yeah, the Lenovo folks have announced that there will be Linux versions that will come preloaded with Fedora at the Red Hat Summit, and well, they will be coming. There's currently, I think, 3 models planned, and they're all Intel. That's the big one. It's like, can we get some AMD with that too, please, Lenovo? But yeah, it's Fedora pre-installed on Lenovo laptops, ThinkPads specifically. So yeah, no, it's got a nice cyclical thing going for it.
Yeah, I mean, this could be what, P1 Gen 2, ThinkPad P53, the ThinkPad X1 Gen 8 laptops, and it's going to expand, which is really neat. But one thing they mentioned, most of these are going to be shipping with discrete graphics in the form of NVIDIA. And they make the mention that, hey, man, the hardware's in there, but out of the box, that the binary drivers are not installed.
It's Fedora, because they have zero consistency when it comes to respecting licenses.
Well, it's just one of the, it's always perplexed me, you know, like why, if you have an NVIDIA, same thing with AMD, even it's easier to do on AMD, but the binary blob, you're going to want it installed, especially on a laptop, for battery savings right there, man.
That Prime, it ain't going to do itself.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's something they can reconsider. What's your take, Joe?
Oh, well, I thought this was actually very exciting for Fedora and for the new IBM Red Hat merger, and which, of course, Fedora is under, and for Linux users in general. And actually, as I've talked about before on LWW, having another major brand laptop with Linux pre-installed will help bring the adoption of Linux to the desktop. So this will really help desktop growth on Linux. It's very exciting.
Options. It'll bring
Exactly.
It's not just
Options
Dell with their XPS and Latitude
Ubuntu.
lines. Like,
Yeah.
being able to buy something, especially business class like that, that's going to be accepted in the workplace.
Workstation. Yeah.
As much as you love System 76, and rightfully so, saying, you know, going to purchasing, like, what's this? I've never heard of it. No, you can get a Dell, or hey, you can get a Lenovo. They're known quantity. Oh, okay. Let everyone's just not going to have an opinion on this, but disabling snaps in 2004.
Just slightly.
By Kevin Costa. Just to start out, I mean, it's like, don't get me wrong, snaps are great. In theory, 100% with you right there. I've said that multiple times. You aren't familiar with Snap Package, it's a sandbox application, you know, snaps, flat packs. This is walking through the simple 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. That's a lot less than I was planning, but it's pretty cool. Deb file, because you can run into situations which I've seen demonstrated. Like, oh, if it can't find the, you're running apt, it can't find the dependency, it'll fail over to Snap. I'm like, all right, I get that. I get it, man. I'm like, all right, fair enough. But am I going on a limb just saying that if the step is between 1 and 5 after installing a distribution is to like remove one of the things that the distribution's like, hey, look, this is the thing we can do. Maybe it's not the right distribution for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, And at the same time, you kind of have to, whether we like it or not, Ubuntu is the most popular Linux distro, and it is, for a lot of people, their first stop when it comes to Linux. And yeah, so it's kind of inevitable that a lot of people will end up using it, which means there will be a lot of those people that won't like snaps, or like how snaps behave, or like how everything takes 5 or 6 seconds to open when they're running a PCIe Gen 4 NVMe SSD.
To be fair, that's only the first launch.
Yeah. But it doesn't feel right, especially in a freshly installed system where everything should be like go, go, go. And it takes forever. It's like, come on. But yeah, the article itself, it describes like everything that you need to run, and you can skip the first 2 steps, and on the third one, instead of doing apt purge snapd, you can do apt auto remove -- purge, so it'll not just purge all of the local things for snap, it'll also purge all of the dependencies, the orphan dependencies that get left behind.
But what if I want my calculator installed by Snap?
Then you can ignore this.
Okay.
This isn't for you. Just, that's fine.
I'm
Keep
going
running
back to my
snaps.
calculator. It's awesome. You don't know what you're missing.
Aww.
But yeah, it's basically the command that was in the show notes for the last week episode. Just you run that, and then you run the one about unmounting the Snap core things, because after you've run the purge, it's already removed all of the directories and everything else. You just need to unmount the core from wherever it's been mounted. That's it.
Yeah. Well, snaps, they're going to become more and more integrated with Ubuntu. So if you don't like snaps, maybe you should just install Debian.
If you
Debian vanilla.
really like snaps, go install Silverblue.
Oh yeah, there you go.
But those are flat packs.
I know, but if you want to get that containerized experience, just
Or
go
Clear
whole
Linux.
hog. Everything's a
Yeah, a clear Linux.
Yeah.
All flat packs all the way. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, Jill, you like hoarding old, useless electronics that should be in the landfill?
I do.
And
I do.
This has upset you just slightly.
Yeah, this is just really sad, but I knew eventually it would come. So at the beginning of the month, the Debian team named X Strike Force, which maintains packages for the X Windows system, decided to pull out a number of old drivers from the Debian repository, including the R28-128 video driver for the more than 20-year-old ATI Rage video cards, and the drivers for Mach 64, Savage, Silicon Motion, SIS, Trident GPUs, and input drivers for LO touchscreens, MU Touch, to name a few. And this is very troubling to me for many reasons, because like Vin says, I'm a computer collector of vintage old computers.
I didn't say collector, Jill.
No, you didn't. I'm
It
a
starts
hoarder.
with an H and ends in
I'm
order.
a hoarder. Yeah, and I enjoy being able to have the ability to run the latest and greatest software, albeit slow on my aging machines. But the major reason that this is so depressing is Debian has always been the Swiss Army knife of operating systems and runs on everything, even retro hardware. And it's because of this support that many nonprofits, including Kids on Computers, can maintain old laptops and computers for schools in third world countries. But of course, they're going to be able to switch to other distros like UberMix, which they're currently using now. So that was just, it's just so, it's depressing.
It brought him out on the mailing list. As soon as I saw this, now we're definitely talking about a bunch of like 20 plus year old. We're talking like the Neo Magic. And hey,
Yeah.
by the way, on the monitor wall of shame, I have an ELO touchscreen, and that thing was astronomically expensive, and I've used it exactly once when someone gave it to me because it weighs a ton, even though it's a flat panel. I plugged it in and put Google Earth on it, and I went, oh, neat, and never used it again. Such as the things you do with such old hardware. But this is like Neomagic Mach 64, Trident.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
you might have an argument with the R128 because
Yes,
we'll run
you
into
do.
those. Like, why does
Yeah.
the VGA port work on the
That's-
back of the server?
Yeah, it's like backups of servers that have those really old ATI. Heck, you don't need to go to servers. I have a ThinkPad T42 right there that uses the R128 driver. So maybe, maybe this will lead to the people who actually do need that to fork R128 and improve on it. And maybe that will result.
I want a new spin of Debian that just starts off as like, is Debian stable to cutting edge for you?
Welcome to Debian Legacy. You can have that one for free.
I wanted to have that thought about if you have like vintage hardware, because I always did that comparison with, especially with computers, the same way I think about hey, car analogy, watch out, #/Todd. With like vintage cars, because with the automotive community, you have a thing called resto mods, which is, you basically keep the shell and all that, and you put new internals and all that fun stuff in it. And I'm like, that's not really vintage. I kind of feel the same way if I get like a 20-year-old piece of kit and, like some of my Sun hardware, and I'm like, no, but I have the latest version of Debian on it. It's like, get out of here, poser. I can put the real stuff on it. I mean, if you want the true experience. I'm only half joking, but you get what I'm saying, man. I mean, it's you have old.
I know it's
having
sad.
hardware that old in like legitimate. And I say this as somebody I know in the back of my head right now. I still got to tinker with 30-year-old hardware constantly, but for like I don't think this is going to break, and it's going to happen. Like Jill said, this is coming. You can't expect brand new versions of Linux kernel or distributions themselves to support everything from Genesis. You just can't.
Everything. Yeah, like I have my Deck Alpha, which Debian no longer supports, but the awesome thing is the community took it over. So now people in the community are updating it, and that's a lot of what will happen. So
that's it.
Really
Like
the
somebody
power
with a Deck
PC
Alpha
ports for other distros.
And a Deck
Yeah.
Alpha, much like my Ultra 10s and all that fun stuff, they're junk. They don't do anything. You can't accomplish work on them. They are like, oh, I got
anymore.
a thing. I cut it on. I cut it off. And look, it does the thing. That's it. I mean, it's personal to you. So don't try to hold back anything because you're like, well, I want mine. But it hasn't been cut on in 6 years. It doesn't matter. Don't.
Yes, it did. I cut it on last week. What are you talking about?
Right. I dusted it. I ran across this next little bit, threw it in the notes because I thought it was kind of interesting. We do, I know I do a lot of video editing. So.
Yes. Yeah. So I was really excited about this. Kdenlive 20.04 is out, just like Ubuntu 20.04, with lots of new features, bug fixes, and interface improvements. It has so many new features. One is the new multicam editing interface allows you to select a track in the timeline by clicking on the project monitor. That's really, really helpful and convenient. But one of the major new features of this release is the added import and export support to Pixar's Open Timeline I/O interchange format, allowing interoperability with Final Cut, Adobe Premiere, Avid, and even community support for Maya's sequencer editor. So it's just that's huge because that's the beauty of open source, is being able to support drivers that work with all the different pieces of software.
And you can put
really
stars
awesome.
on things.
Yes. So you can you have now you can color code your projects in your bin and the groups, and the motion tracking received lots of improvements and new tracking algorithms that work a lot better. And one of my favorite things is the zoom bar for keyframes is a welcome feature. You can zoom in and out of your keyframes, which is really wonderful because they're actually very hard to see. I always have to use my magnifying program to see all my keyframes because sometimes I'll have hundreds on the timeline, and those little ticks are very hard to see. So it's really nice to be able to spread those apart and together.
That's good quality of life. Man, that's one thing I love
That's
about.
just a very good UI feature
Yeah.
You know, as a
Yeah.
whole.
It's
More
fine,
things need
because
that,
if you're
please.
using something like
Exactly.
DaVinci Resolve, that's built in, like on
Yeah, that's
multiple
built in.
layers. You have your
Yes.
standard keyframes, and you got to drop down notable keyframe like directly in the timeline.
Yeah, definitely.
I took the Pepsi challenge with it, man. With H.265, that's always my test with it. That's what I needed to do. And like, why are you working such a highly compressed form? Because I can, kids. Because I can. I got a Threadripper. We record in H.265, HEVC. Lossless profile, 10-bit. It couldn't do it. I mean, it
Yeah.
tried. It tried, but you know, you go through the timeline a little bit, and then it catches up, as opposed to being able to script through it. It's CPU versus GPU compute. But
Yeah.
I'm still gonna try every time because it's an app image. Doesn't cost you anything. Go try it. For like your basic home needs and stuff like that.
Free software,
Yeah,
open source.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Pedro, tell me about all the fantastic movies that you used to make.
Movies? When did I make movies?
Well, you know, I know you're hard at work on the PlayStation bottom right-hand corner guide.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, I did.
That's the problem. Remind me more often.
Stay
Aw.
tuned. Okay, this is either really cool, or for me, this next story is like, oh, that's I never used it again. It's one of those type things. It kind of showed up at our Discord. I just posted
awesome.
a picture, then everyone was like, I did it too.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, what's that called? Oh, bash stop. Okay. And, well, if you have HTOP and you think that HTOP is way too sensible and has a far too unified design and everything is far too sensibly laid out, I introduce to you BashTop. There's a lot of ways to... No, that's Super
That's the
Paper.
wrong
That's the
one.
next
Too
one.
late. Too late.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of wasted space because chances are, if you've been on Reddit anytime this week, you probably saw the post about BashTop and all the screenshots that went with it. Yeah, there's a lot of wasted space around the graph area because, you know, it's more important to have pretty little dot bar graphs than to be efficient with the information that you're trying to show. I don't know.
Is that what kind of... See, I knew... I thought it was a bit shouty.
A little bit.
Yeah. It is. It
If we're
is.
being honest. But it's cool. It's like, oh, that's neat. Look, it's showing all the things, and you know, it's got the network and all that. But yeah, HTOP, because HTOP gives me what I need to know. I need to see the processes. I need to see, you know, what usage count is, how much memory RAM I have laid around. This
Swap
still,
if it's
this is great. I mean, you just clone it and just root it directly out of that directory and look at it. Be like, oh, maybe it's something you want to use. This is something a younger me would be like, oh, let me show you this cool Linux thing I do when I'm Linuxing. Can your Windows do that?
Look at me, Linux.
Then I make them take a step back and I wobble a window. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Well, I think it is cool that it has the usage stats for the CPU, including temperature, memory, disk, network, and processes. And you don't have to type sensors in the terminal, which is easy to do. but anyways, it's built into BashTop. And what's really cool, of course,
I only
it's
type
just
in
the bash
sensors when
script.
something smells off.
Yes, it's like, what's that? Okay, it's not this one. All right.
But yeah, it is cool that it's just a bash script that you run, of course. And there's some modules you can install if you want.
Good times. So moving
I
on.
wasn't a big fan of just one thing. That's the CPU utilization just to have that running. It's like, one of my cores is at 2% constantly just to run this.
Okay, yeah.
Tried it didn't even, it was a big, more wasted space on a 24 core system that didn't acknowledge that it was running. It was like, what? So it's like, yeah, I'm agreeing with you though. It's like, that's a lot of wasted space if you're not doing anything. But it's cool. Go play with it. Show it off to your friends and your family. Show it off to your cat.
Yes.
Super Paper, as I was getting to earlier, it's cross-platform, multi-monitor wallpaper manager, and it's got XFCE support, so you know it's superior to all other wallpaper managers. Probably not, but...
And there's a KDE screenshot.
Dude, I mean, You got to show like worst case scenario, right?
Yeah.
This is like if it can run on KDE, it can run on anything. But we are seeing the configurations, and it's available. What would you rather install, Pedro? A pip or a snap? You don't have a third option. I got a loaded penguin stuck to your head.
Yeah, loaded penguin, very, very hungry. Pip.
Pip. Yeah, I'd probably go with a snap over pip, and I know
I'll take the pip.
Yeah, I did the snap, but I also installed the very experimental app image, which had issues, of course, because it's experimental.
But you're able to control pixel density correction, pixel correction, perspective correction, manual pixel offsets for fine tuning, or just do what I do, kids. Set your background to a solid color. Be done with it. Look, this one matches this. You know, these monitors aren't even on the same computer, and their backgrounds, actually, these don't match because I have to have a background to tell who's who on the
No.
Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite functions of Super Paper was being able to save monitor profiles on desktop environments that don't support profiles in their display settings, like Mate, Budgie, and LXQT. So that was really cool. And you can span wallpaper on KDE and XFCE. So it's very important.
And the ability to span wallpapers across multiple monitors and desktop environments that don't support it. Why KDE doesn't support it in 2020, I don't know, but okay. It seems a bit weird. But it doesn't. It doesn't, by the way. But one thing, like on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, is Mate. You can span a ginormous wallpaper across all the monitors. It can do that out of the box. But you can have separate wallpapers per monitor.
Yeah, exactly.
Like every other every other desktop environment out there is like, really? Really?
Well, you can span it out. Just do a life hack, man. If you have multiple monitors and you need them aligned, just buy some monitor arms. Just move the monitor up and down on left and right. That's perfect.
Well, there you go.
Or just take one with an adjustable arm and adjust it to the same height as the non-adjustable one. Like I have.
Sorry, I'm too busy just setting my background to a solid color page. I couldn't hear you. What was that?
Yeah.
Good news, ladies and gentlemen. Microsoft loves Linux. Hang on, I will do that with the hang on. Microsoft loves Linux. There we go. Ta-da!
So
That's a different kind of horse.
yes. So last October and November, we talked about Microsoft Edge coming to Linux, and Microsoft developers asked the community to take a short web development on Linux survey. And the results of that survey were positive enough that Microsoft felt that developers would like it for testing on Linux. And it is almost here. It's coming in July, and we are on the edge of the precipice, as it were. So anyways, but what's really cool is that they've set up not just a dev channel for the developer edition, but a beta channel as well as a canary channel, which is updated daily. So they're really all in, and this is awesome, actually. Even though I probably won't use it, it's nice to have another Chromium browser on Linux.
I was about to say, it's like, let's count the number of Chrome-based browsers.
I think we have to be honest, that definitely kneecaps some excitement out of the dumpster fire because, like, it's Chromium-based. And I bet it's our stuff. Hey, look at this, though. You thought I forgot. They didn't. And I've got my money bet in for by the end of 2020. So good news on that side. We will definitely see you in July. My first thought was, man, I think I even posted it on Twitter. It's like, I hope this runs better than IE5 on Solaris. Yeah, that was the thing. Believe it or not. Go look it up. I had to deal with that nightmare.
Oh, boy.
But, 2020, it's the gift that keeps on giving, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that'll be an odd birthday gift if it comes around the 14-week mark like they say they will. It's like, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of presents, if you want to give us one, you can support the show over at patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. That's how we finance this mayhem and madness. We got a bunch of levels, a bunch of rewards up to and including access to our Discord. We do an extra bonus show each week that you're invited to come join us live in. Access to our show notes. We got some early stuff. Try not to paywall anything, but we hand out some rewards like I mentioned at the top of the show. If you want to see some behind the scenes here at LGC, that video is currently available. Early access to our uncut episodes, also in podcast format. We try to dance for our dinner, is what I'm trying to say. And if that's not your cup of chainsaw, hey, everyone wants a shirt with Pedro's face on it.
Ah.
I know I do, but I'm a massive narcissist, so.
I don't know, man. My Pedro fanny pack is gorgeous, man. We got our Hello shirts. Let's see. We got the Frank's. We got the one Jill's got on right now.
Yes. LWW.
Yeah.
Yay.
Whenever I need a little extra scratch to buy something for the studio, I just make up a new shirt and Jill buy like 6 of them. It's easy.
Yeah. Yes.
But that's cool. We want to thank each and every one of you. Keep us loud, live, and independent. I mean that. We don't do commercials. Coming up on 10 years, man. So we've always been self-financed. That was, you never have to worry about this Linux story brought to you, except for, come on, we take some Microsoft money. I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wouldn't do anything after they gave it.
I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
After we were free and legally clear, and he's like, you can't get it back. All right. That's brilliant. Oh, everyone keep being awesome, and we'll keep trucking on. But
yeah, and actually we still have.
That's right.
Yeah,
See, Joe, you got to jump in. You got to overtalk.
Okay, so we have two new wonderful patrons.
One is wonderful. Are you sure both of them are in fact wonderful?
Yes, they are. One is Abstraction, and he's in chat right now. And it turns out he's an electronic musician, so I'm looking forward to hearing his work.
He's not a Steam musician.
Well, he could be, because electronic music is used a lot for soundtracks, of course. On
I'm talking
Steam
about
soundtracks?
Pressurized water vapor.
Oh,
Actual boiling water there, Jill.
sorry. Software. Steam gaming. This is Linux Gamecast.
I thought there was going to be like a kettle joke coming there, but no.
No, I'm sorry. So, and also we have Das Geek, who I co-hosted with on Destination Linux on Sunday. So, and he's got amazing YouTube channel focused on all the wonderful things about Linux, and he co-hosts numerous shows. So, thank you so much, Das Geek. That was awesome.
Right on. That is excellent. Pedro, now can we have that slice of pie?
Yes, now we can divide by pi and then eat it. I don't know how that works, but then again, as demonstrated in that stream I did yesterday, my brain isn't working.
I was going to ask you to math out the top real quick, but yeah, I don't know if you're feeling it.
Yeah. 3.14. Yeah,
Good guesses, kids. Good guesses. Let's talk about how to track your cat's activity with a homemade speedometer. I wanted to track it with a hot dog. Go ahead, as you were.
Well, it's a homemade speedometer that you can basically shine a laser pointer at your cat's running wheel, because cats, they're not going to use that thing ever unless you give them some stimulus. So people just use like the usual laser pointer, and they get them to run it. And this person has a Bengal kitty, and so they put the kitty on the thing, they shine the laser, and there's a Raspberry Pi cleverly hidden behind it, that it's a Raspberry Pi Zero with the GPIO pins, and they've with a couple of magnets, one inside a half of a pillbox that's on the wheel itself, and the other one on the bottom with a sensor to detect when the magnet goes around. The Raspberry Pi does the rest of it, and the author actually says that it was surprisingly easy to figure out when the Raspberry Pi, to get the Raspberry Pi to talk to the sensor, because it just kind of did it. So yeah, though that particular kitty there attained a maximum peak speed of 10.24 miles an hour. That's a very slow kitty.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that would be interesting to see what cats are faster of our house trained felines. But What's really funny here is I've actually been watching a lot of videos on TikToks of cats spinning on these cat wheels, and I can see this being a new TikTok challenge. I think it'd be cool.
It's like I've seen the hamsters, like multiple hamsters running on the wheel, and then one just goes wee.
Yeah. Well, I've seen the cat videos like that too, where they're running so fast and they can't stop, and so they try and move off it, and they end up flying off in another direction. It's pretty funny.
But enough about feline versus centrifugal force. Let's
Yes.
Microscopes. Little Pies build a sophisticated microscope using Lego 3D printed Arduinos and a Raspberry Pi. A DIY experiment at IBM Research. Yeah, we're building a little tiny electron-looking microscope, and I am a huge fan of this level of overkill.
It's amazing. Yeah, this would be a great science, great for a science class for a school, teaching how to build the microscope and then using it. Be really, really cool. And the creator, Yuxi Timiz, is looking for other creators to improve on his idea. But he did a beautiful job with Legos and Arduinos and Raspberry Pis and getting it all lined up and working correctly. It's just really amazing.
And
I never thought about that, Pedro. Would you try to make a Lego lathe?
Yeah.
I can't imagine that the parts would stay. I guess you could super glue like the pieces to each other, but that feels like a social faux pas.
It could generate some controversy simply because, the lathe is the only natural predator of the Lego.
Oh.
You can use the Lego lathe to lathe Legos. Try saying that 10 times fast.
I don't know. Orlando Bloom's one more time and he'll show up.
But no, it's actually kind of impressive. He got the lens from a 4K camcorder and just kind of made typical Raspberry Pi camera just do a very good image of the, I think it was coin that he took of the
It rolls off the tongue better than metal money disc, but yes.
Yes. So yeah, no, that's very nice. TSA acceptance factor is not great, but then again, it's Lego.
I mean, if you show up with something like that, like, all right, fine, whatever. This is weave you through. Like, I don't even want to mess. So, if you're building anything made out of Lego and you want to tell us about it, drop us a line.
Yeah.
We have a contact button that you can slam on our web zone, linuxgamecast.com/contact. I believe I've cleverly disguised it there. And we can read your feedback on the show. And we'll do it. But until next week, let's roll some credits and have Netflix go, no, we made this.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Go watch the beginning of last Saturday's show if you want to. Find out about that.
Thank you to our newest patrons, Abstraction and DOSGeek.
Y'all are awesome, but you're
Amazing.
not more awesome than any of the people that will come, after our names.
Are you more awesome than you already are?
Yes, more awesomer.
Yes, thank you to our advisor, our producers, our executive producers. You're all beautiful, and we love you all, and we can't say all your names because there's just too many of them.
You're all amazing.
Amazing.
Admitting, like, I can't read that fast.
Yes. LWW220. Woohoo! Can you believe that? It's amazing.
I was here for all of it. Oh. Default. All right. Bye, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye. No, thank you, Abstraction.
Yeah, thank you, Abstraction. Yeah.
All right. Squish.
All right.
What?
32-bit distro. Lubuntu 1804.
WinTablet
Or-
convertible? Oh, I mean, why do you hate this hardware, Chip? It clearly begs for the sweet release of death.
Aw.
Yeah, basically, Ubuntu 1804 still had a 32-bit version.
Yes.
I don't know if the main release did, but the like the spins did. So. Oh, it's one of those, is it? Yeah, I have one of those.
Oh, you got a 32-bit UFI. Ah, Chibsy. Yeah. I do
It's
have
an
a couple of those.
Asus VivoBook. It's got a Cherry Trail, a CPU on it. It's a 64-bit CPU
Yeah.
with a 32-bit UEFI.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
I have no idea. The Bay Trail Windows tablet I have it might be 64, but I don't know if it's 32. I've used that
Yeah.
thing a grand total of 3 times
Yeah.
and rage quit all 3 times.
This one, I managed to install Windows 10 Pro 64-bit on it, and it's got 32 gigs of storage, so you can get the updates in.
Mine, you couldn't. That's when I put it was stuck in some, I just put it in the box. I didn't even cut it off, man.
Yeah, the big problem there, Chibs, is the 32-bit UEFI, because especially if it's a
Yeah.
Cherry Trail, if you look at specifically like Cherry Trail, tablet, Linux, you'll see like years of people saying, does it work yet? Does it work yet? Does it work yet? Because yeah.
Yeah. And Mir, you're so correct about the Mac Minis and Mac Pros, because a lot of them, even the ones that are 64-bit, won't work unless you do a 32-bit Linux install on them, like Debian or Ubuntu.
My Mac Mini still runs Mac OS because that's how we created the iTunes.
Oh, yeah. Do you
was the
keep that
only-
around
only way
for
to do
that
it.
purpose?
That's why I bought the Windows tablet.
Oh, okay.
Well, that and I was going to shove Linux on it, then it was just a hot mess of. Those things were like what, $60 or $70. It was just like you just go back in the cloud. I don't have time for this. And yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
There's
Linux
a lot of
Canary,
people
yeah.
running on like the old PowerPC iMacs running Ubuntu Mate, because even though it's not officially supported anymore, there is a very big community effort around it.
Yes, very much so.
I found
Yeah.
this one dude on YouTube, as one does. I mean, you can pretty much. I found this blank on YouTube. Of course you did. Of course you did. It's there. He upgrades old Macs with his like BGA Macs CPUs
Oh.
and like redoes the EEPROMs.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like that's kind of next level.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just doing it for fun. He's like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't buy a Mac. I mean, like,
I
they're
want a MacBook for my collection, but
the only reason
Yeah.
I buy a MacBook is because it'd be easier to give away.
yeah.
True that. Yeah. Yeah, Linux Canary. I have a PPC Mac Mini as well as an Intel one. Yeah. I love that's probably one of my favorite Macs ever made, actually. So I like those little minis.
Tap your microphone, Joe.
Oh, tap it.
All right. I'm just seeing if I get any residual. All right, that's
Okay.
good. Thank you. I mean, it was the business to run a 32-bit cheese up until what, like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
If you were going to be playing games, yeah, just run 32-bit, man.
Yeah.
Then Steam
Install.
came along and a couple of Linux games started coming out with 64. It's like, oh, yeah, no, kind of.
Also-
need it now.
The compatibility libs picked up too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, especially wine games. If you're trying to run wine games, like wine 32-bit, still a thing.
I forget which was the first version of Fedora 64-bit. I remember I was over at Dar's house and he was having a party, this nerd party, of course. You know, he was playing on his networked Xboxes that he had hacked up, and we were doing installs for Linux. And I just bought like the first AMD 64-bit, and I was like, oh my god, this is the future, you guys. What? Nothing worked. I mean, it booted, but that was it. I mean, it got into X bonus soda, but like no media codec support, nothing. It's like, well, okay. That was a fun experiment.
Yeah, the first 64-bit distro that I used was Fuduntu. It
Yeah,
started off
that's-
as being 32-bit, and I started using it because Fute was like, on the Triple EPC forums. They were a thing at the time. I think the site's gone now. But
Aw.
at the time, it was like anyone who had the Triple EPC netbook was on there sharing all the things like tips to make like Linux work and get like CPU overclocking and GPU overclocking on those things, as well as all the advanced power settings that Asus had built in. And Fute was there like all the time, and it's like, look, I made a distro specifically for like stuff like this. It's like, ooh.
Neat.
Like, ooh, this works really well. Was based on Fedora 14 too. It's like, ooh.
Well, even then, you could install a PAE kernel that worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had a maximum theoretical limit at that point of 32 gigs, but
At that time, that was an abstract number.
no.
Yeah, it's like, what? Okay, fine. You can make it 5 terabytes, 32 gigs. Jeez, what? That's not going to happen.
But yeah, no, PAE kernel ran that for a long, long time. So I could have all 8 gigs on my laptop. It's like, ooh.
8 gigs.
That was a
gigs
big
was
deal.
the sweet spot for a long time.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of the tech YouTubers saying that if you're going to be gaming, you need 16 gigabytes. It's like, if you're gaming on Linux, 8 gigabytes is plenty.
I would still recommend 16 for the overhead.
If you have like a computer that does more than gaming, yes.
Well, I hate to say that just because what I'm saying is, do you need 16? No, but there's going to be situations where you might need like 9 gigs.
Because I can't show you the Steam box right now because it's plugged in. But 8 gigs, and the max it ever used that I saw was like 6. Then again, it's just Steam. When it boots up, it loads Steam. So, it's using 300 whole megabytes of RAM. Huh.
As somebody who desktops constantly with 32 gigs, I don't ever touch that. That's just there because I had to put 2 more sticks on the other side of the Threadripper. It's
Yeah.
begrudgingly.
Yeah, depending on the kind of stuff that you're running on your PC. If it's purely gaming, 8 gigs on Linux is enough.
It's just fine, yeah.
Yeah.
Buy 16 gigs, kids. Don't listen to these people.
Yeah. Well, I run 16, at least minimally on my main machines, but most of them are 32 or higher.
Well, that's not playing games. No, is it Linux Neuro?
No, that's running a server.
See, here's the trick, kids. If you want to buy 32, all you got to do is be like, well, I'm just going to run a bunch of you don't have Docker installed. You don't have VMware installed, but just tell that to yourself. Then you can buy it guilt-free.
Which is why this 3700X is running with 2 slots free, and, well, I do have 16 because the price difference between 16 and 8 when I bought that kit of RAM wasn't all that much. So it's like, I mean, if I'm going to pay an extra £20, I can get double the memory. So, yeah.
It's I effectively just had the memory laying around, and I needed. There you go. There's some air quotes for the show. 16 gigs in Jackbox, but it just had 16 in it already. So I was like, yeah, fine. You just stay there. You work. That's fine.
Yeah, last time I went above the 16 gigs, and then above all of the swap space that I had in my machine crashed just as we were starting Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, was because of Chrome Beta.
Yeah.
The moment you opened up anything WebRTC related, it went, well, I'm using a gig, now I'm using 2, 3, 4.
So let's take a look at Threadbooper running.
It's Chromium. Electron is just Chromium.
I have Chrome open. I have Chromium open.
Yeah. Same
Yeah,
here.
I have Jitsi running in
Firefox.
Chromium. I have Vivaldi. I have Firefox, and Discord, which is also Electron. So
I have Discord open.
Yes.
I have OBS loaded.
There we
I have
go.
Claudia open. Audacity's running, and VLC's running, plus Chrome Beta, and
I'm not running
Chromium.
Steam.
No, this is just how much memory am I using? I want to hear some ballparks.
You're using
Jill, you go first.
So, 12? 12
Okay.
gigs?
I'm going to say 7.
Okay, that's 2. This is the Price is Right, man. I would have went like 12.1. Let's see. Boop. There you go.
11.
Nice.
So closest without going over, I win.
Well, yeah, okay. I guess I should say I have a door open. It's running over SSH. So
Yeah, no, I'm using 5.4. Just because of all the tabs open in all the browsers.
like very few games I see are really memory hungry. Like the latest Tomb Raider would get up there. It would chew up like 11 if you let it. So
On like the ultra settings, it easily, you see it easily hit 10. One I saw used the most was when I was playing with Jordan and Artherin, was Tannenberg.
yeah, right. That was a
Because
big question.
Artherin's like, why am I running out of RAM? It's like, oh, Tannenberg is using 15 gigs. It's like, what? No way. Opened up HTOP, it's like, oh, it's using 10 gigs on mine.
Yeah, Chibs, that is one thing with Electron. I mean, like things that you absolutely have to run for work, you know. But
Yeah.
my second thought is, why can't I just do this in the browser then? You know, instead of having apps open, why don't you let me run my Electron app in a tab?
Yeah.
I wish Dameware would just move to, it's like, oh, you can now remote into people's machines over an Electron app. It's like, I don't need to run Windows anymore.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I mean, Electron will be remembered as fondly as Flash and Java before then. And yes,
Yeah.
I'm talking about client-side Java.
To be fair, I think Electron already sort of kind of started with people not enjoying it very much.
Oh, it's already got
At least Flash had its heyday.
It's got this thing. Well, Flash had its heyday when it was like, you know what? You work on Newgrounds, and that's about it.
It's like, oh, look at all these people making these animations and doing this and doing that, and maybe like a really fancy website. And then it's like, oh, there's now a bunch of websites with Flash, and no more, please.
Well, sometimes that was the entire website, man. It's just Flash.
Yeah.
Especially,
Wix.
dude, after action
Wix.
script showed up, I was like, I can do anything you need. Man. I
Nah.
can tie this into the back end.
Full of Stan.
BattleTech. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
If you have a board that big with mods, yeah. There's a reason that it was Skyrim with the high 8K or 4K texture pack that triggered the 3.5 gig thing on the 970. Mods, man. Mods.
Mods are cool. They make the game slower and more prone to crashing. I love them. Do you know what I did finish? Do you know what I finished?
What?
I finally finished the Wesker 3. That's what the troll calls The Witcher in the Witcher series. They always Wesker.
Yeah, no, I started the first 2 Witchers, and I never finished them.
I beat the second one. It took me 5 months and 42 hours to beat The Witcher 3. I don't have a lot of time to play games, unfortunately, but what I do, I was putting it into that, and it's like, yay, I beat it. And I was powering my way through the end. I was like, this dialogue can die in a fire, man. Just, you know, when you reach that point in a game, like, I don't care anymore. I just need to get to the end here. It's going to stop.
Yeah, I only started playing the first Witcher because it's like, oh, it's made in the Aurora engine, and if that sounds familiar, it's because Neverwinter Nights. And BioWare was like, yeah, we licensed our engine to CD Projekt Red, and they're making The Witcher using it. It's like, awesome. I'm gonna try it. And I tried it, it's like, oh god, no. Oh god, no.
Well, I didn't dance. It all started with, you know, in Witcher 2, which was that Eon port that was this janked up mess, and out of curiosity, when Proton got to a point, I wanted to see if I could run it. But Proton turns out then the XVK was working with it. And I was like, ooh, this is playing. I got sucked into playing that, and I finished that. And I was like, if there was only a... Oh, wait a minute, there is. All right, fine, boom. So...
Yeah, that was the perfect example of just how jank Eon was in the calculator. I was still using calculator when that came out. I could play The Witcher 2 in regular wine with like medium settings. With the Eon port, it didn't even launch. Just broken. It's like, oh, great.
Arthur, Witcher, yeah, that's a thing. I've only ran it for testing. I've actually haven't played it through Witcher 2.
It's an interesting series. The main reason this is all Netflix's fault, because I watched Netflix. It could be probably better if I understood any of this. So let's
peer pressure.
Let's go check out the lore. Well, I've already watched the series way before.
Yeah, you did already, Vin, and I've been wanting to watch it. Looks good.
Well, nothing's holding you back.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yes. Just haven't gotten around to it. I'm watching so much stuff lately.
All right, 4:18. So we got to bounce out of here. Pedro, are you going to be working Friday night? Pedro bailed on us last Friday.
Oh, well, he had to work.
I didn't. It's just the phone that the notification went on. I was, using it.
Yeah, we got to do something about that phone being the only way to communicate from your house. We'll see if we can work something out.
Well, Google sort of killed the dedicated Linux client for the Hangouts, so...
Yeah.
Well, there's Discord, and Hangouts messaging, tab,
Discord, yeah.
email, Twitter.
If you poke me on Discord, the other phone will go off.
But if you want to come hang out with us Friday, we're going to be doing that. We are going through Wolfenstein, and we went through a really nasty hard part last week.
Mm-hmm, you did.
So I think we have updates.
I saw you alone for a lot of the time.
Yeah, just a body of deads around me. I think I counted them like 20. They just kept coming, man. It's like, dude, I'm in the top of the ladder with a sniper rifle. This is fine. Keep coming. We'll just thin this map out. And we're playing it on hard with friendly fire, so there's a double dying of fire mode.
Yeah.
It's kind of brilliant. Which was fun because Rohit joined us, and after the first 5 minutes, Rohit, friendly fire's on. Oh, sorry. Well, it's an incredibly pricey game. What did it cost? It was like $2 on Steam.
And if it isn't, it probably goes on sale often enough.
Well, this was the whole thing. This is the beauty of like Steam. GOG. It would have been GOG too if GOG had a client on Linux. Because my first thought was like, well, I know where to get those asset files from. Wait a minute. Is this on Steam? It's a lot less work if I just click done. Have $2. That's worth my time of like sorting through wares.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just done with it. No, I haven't.
Yeah.
And
Tomorrow
GOG
we're
actively shunning Linux boards by making people go through a very convoluted process to upload the build.
Well, yeah. Yeah, so tomorrow then we're going to try and play Serious Sam 2 on Proton and multiplayer. We haven't tested it out yet, so we're going to get together before Jordan's stream and test it out and see how well it works. I think it's going to be fine because their ports are always really good, even running on multiplayer, the Serious engine.
Well, I look forward to you playing Amarillo tomorrow.
Yeah, I like playing furry. I love playing that game. It's fun. It's funny because initially I didn't think I would. I mean, I like D&D, so but at first I didn't think I would care for it, but I ended up loving it now.
Arthur and I spent a solid 5 minutes inviting people and telling them what I'm playing on Friday. So no one tell Arthur and nope. May it forever be a mystery. All right, everyone, we're out of here. We'll see you next week.
Okay.
Stay cool, stay safe, stay indoors.
Love you guys.
We're outdoors.
Thank you for
Just pick
joining
one.
us.
That's what your parents used to say. Pick one.
Yeah. How do I exit Vim?